Have you ever walked past an old coin, maybe tucked away in a drawer, sitting in your wallet for years, or resting at the bottom of a dusty jar, without giving it a second thought? Well, let me tell you something truly shocking. What if I said that a simple 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar coin could make you thousands, and in some cases even reach into the tens of thousands, or yes, even hundreds of thousands of dollars? That's right, one of the most overlooked U.S. coins of the modern era, a coin many people once disliked, is today turning heads in the coin-collecting world with shocking auction prices that leave people speechless. Now, before you shake your head thinking, "Oh come on, it's just a dollar coin, who would pay that much?" Let's dive into the jaw-dropping truth. You won't believe how much some collectors are willing to pay for these coins, especially the rare errors, the pristine conditions, and those unexpected hidden varieties that are floating around in circulation. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was first struck in 1979, replacing the Eisenhower dollar. It was the very first U.S. coin to feature a real, non-allegorical woman, Susan B. Anthony, a brave leader of the women's suffrage movement. But here's the twist. People at the time didn't love the coin. Many confused it with a quarter because of its size, and it became somewhat of a flop in everyday commerce. But that flop is now a treasure chest for collectors. Moneybags, so let's talk real numbers. The standard 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar that you find in pocket change might only be worth $1. But the moment you step into the world of mint marks, special strikes, and error coins, that's where the shocking value explodes. For example, a pristine 1979 P-wide rim dollar, also known as the near date, has sold for over $10,000 in high-grade condition. Imagine that, a tiny variation in rim spacing turns a common coin into a jackpot for collectors. But that's not the end of it. Certain proof versions struck at the San Francisco Mint in 1979 can fetch jaw-dropping prices. I'm talking $15,000, $20,000, or more, depending on condition and certification. And let's not forget the mind-blowing cases where rare error strikes, coins with double dies, off-center minting, or experimental planchets, have sold at auction for over $100,000. Yes, 6 figures for a single dollar coin that most people overlook. Now, let's spice this up even more. Imagine you're at a yard sale, browsing through an old coin jar. You spot a 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar, and the seller says, "Ah, just take it for $1." You hand over your dollar, take it home, clean it up, and then send it for grading. A few weeks later, it comes back from PCGS or NGC as a near-perfect MS-68 wide rim variety. Suddenly, that little coin is worth $12,000, $15,000, maybe even $20,000. That is the kind of heart-pounding, life-changing find that makes collectors obsessed with this coin. And here's another shocking fact. The 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar is also surrounded by myths and stories that fuel collector demand. Some people call it the dollar nobody wanted. Others see it as a historic turning point, being the first woman ever depicted on a circulating U.S. coin. That alone adds cultural and historical weight to its value. But combine history with rarity and mint errors, and suddenly this so-called unpopular coin is one of the hottest collectibles on the market today. Let's talk about specifics because this is where the thrill really hits. A 1979 S-Type 2 proof dollar recently sold for more than $15,000 at auction. A 1979 P-wide rim in mint state 67 went for nearly $12,000. Error coins, like off-center strikes, can easily fetch $5,000 to $30,000, depending on severity and grade. Some ultra-rare experimental planchet strikes linked to the Susan B. Anthony dollar are valued at well over $100,000, making them true treasures of modern numismatics. And just think, how many millions of these coins were minted? Billions circulated in everyday pockets, cash registers, and soda machines. So who knows? That dusty jar in your home, that random drawer full of change, or even the handful of coins you just got back at the grocery store could contain one of these hidden gems. What makes this story even more engaging is the roller coaster history of the coin. It was released in 1979 with high hopes, minted again in 1980, 1981, and then surprisingly brought back for a single year in 1999 before being retired for good. That limited run makes it even more collectible. Unlike Lincoln cents or Jefferson nickels that are still in production, the Susan B. Anthony dollar has a fixed historical footprint, meaning no more will ever be made. Scarcity plus demand equals value skyrocketing. Now here's where the shock factor goes through the roof. Imagine you've been holding on to a 1979 S-proof dollar, thinking it's just a neat keepsake. Then you find out it's a Type 2, the scarcer variety, and in gem condition it's worth upwards of $20,000. Wouldn't your jaw hit the floor? This is why collectors say the Susan B. Anthony dollar is one of the most underestimated U.S. coins of all time. People ignored it, mocked it, called it a failure. But today, it's one of the most exciting sleeper coins out there, waiting to surprise its owners with shocking financial rewards. So the big takeaway: don't overlook this coin. Don't dismiss it as just a dollar. That single piece of metal could very well be your ticket to thousands, maybe even millions. Keep an eye out for wide rim varieties, check for proof strikes with that precious Type 2 mint mark, and always look closely for mint errors, those shocking mistakes that make collectors bid insane amounts of money. Before I wrap this up, let me just say, stories are pouring in of regular people who found 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollars in circulation and cashed them in for more than they ever imagined. It's like winning the lottery without even buying a ticket.